Hey everyone, it's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. Today is Friday, October 20th. Happy Friday. I hope you're well. And in this video, we're going to be diving into the Tilray Brands chart. TLRY is the ticker symbol. We're going to be looking at daily oversold coming into play, and then also the all-time low coming into play. I know that's not what a lot of people want to hear after the HHS recommendation and massive upside that we saw after that announcement on their recommendation to reschedule to Schedule 3. It's almost as if it never even happened. We're going to take a look at the chart and what to expect in terms of price action in the days, weeks, and months ahead, and what we need to see ASAP by these bulls to defend support and to be confident that this multi-year bear market is over and that we're potentially entering a new multi-year bull market. And I've got some more information that I want to share with you as well. So we'll discuss all of that and more. Before we do get to it though, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, you'll be notified on any future videos, all that good stuff whenever I go live. And then speaking of supporting the channel, you can go over to X as well, which is previously Twitter, and follow us there. The handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. Again, the handle for that is @GroupPow. Also, as a thank you to the community, and celebrating 5 years of MJ turning legal in Canada. If you go over to the Pow Group YouTube channel, click on videos, and then just bring up this video here, Happy 5 Years Canada, and comment on that video. There's currently 47 comments. And then you'll be entered into a chance to win a annual membership valued at $100 to the Pow Group private community. Going to be giving away a gold membership later on today. I'll do a live stream and do a random comment picker. So good luck, and love each and every one of you who supported me along the way. So Tilray came out with an article. This was dated October 19th, so yesterday, celebrating 5 years of growth. Tilray Brands reflects on industry leadership in Canadian MJ and looks forward to its future. So as we know, they have approximately 13.4% market share in Canada with the recent acquisition of Hexacorp and Trust Beverage Co. And then it just goes on to kind of give some comments from the CEO, Irwin Simon, and then Blair McNeil, the president of Tilray Canada. And then it goes to explain their comprehensive Canadian MJ portfolio. So you have Good Supply, you've got Redecan, which came out of the acquisition of Hexo. You got Broken Coast, Kanika, Chowie Wowie, you got Riff, Soleil, Original Stash, again, Hexo, XMG, Truss, Molo, Bake Sales, a Hexo brand, The Batch, Tilray Medical, which was recently renamed, and then we have Afria Medical and Symbios. So as you can see, this is a global powerhouse in the making, and in my opinion, we're going to see a lot more new products coming from Tilray as well. So be on the lookout for specifically those readies. We should see some enhancements to that. We should see the hemp paper, and then we should even see even more strains added to those as well, and then maybe even some other surprises that we may not be expecting. So like I said, this company, through its MJ portfolio, through its alcohol portfolio, through its distribution business, through its Manitoba harvest and hemp business, we're going to see this company, in my opinion, stand the test of time and likely become one of the biggest companies in the space. I would say top 5 globally, maybe even the top. It could even, top 3 for sure, I think. Top 5 for sure, but maybe even top 3, and maybe even the biggest company on the planet with regards to MJ. And they're into craft beer, spirits, other things as well. But what's not to love, right? I'm a huge proponent and fanatic of craft beer and MJ, so it's definitely my biggest holding. And full disclosure, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment and informational purposes only. You should never buy anything based on anything that I write or anything that I say. So one thing I wanted to mention as well, I just did a video on VFF, Village Farms. They got an extension to regain NASDAQ compliance, so you can check that out. I did some analysis on that as well. And then Canadian MJ sales rose in August, surpassing 3 billion Canadian in 2023. So as you can see here, with sales in August rising to $464.2 million. And, it could be, a few years from now, and this could be at, somewhere close to $1 billion, right? So just in Canada, there's so much growth to be had, even in, Quebec, and then the rest of Canada. There's the MJ Act is up for renewal here in Canada as well. So we could see some enhancements and improvements to the laws and regulations with regards to that and limitations. We know that they just upped the drinks from like 355 mils to about 48. And then we should see an increase in the amount of milligrams per package of edibles. Currently at 10 right now. That could increase to about 100. It's usually around 100 in the US, right? And it's not even federally legal there. So I think, 50 or 100 milligrams makes sense. And then we should see improvements to packaging and labeling. Right now, when you walk into an MJ store, you feel like you're going to die because of all the warning labels, right? And it's just, there's no pizzazz to it. There's no oomph. There's no, wow factor whenever you look at, say a can or something like that, a drink. It's boring, right? Imagine what it's going to be like whenever it's like an energy drink and you can buy it in a store or like a convenience store or a liquor store or something like that, right? Not everybody wants to go to a dispensary to buy it, right? And if it's at a site, it's at a mine, so to speak. So if you put it in an everyday area where people are, traffic is going in and out, then it's just going to spark that much more interest in, like I said, at a site, at a mine. So if you put it into site, it's going to be in mine, right? But with that being said, we could also see improvements to taxation. Those are definitely antiquated and out of date, so we should see some improvements to that as well. And then we have safer banking, we have uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, we've got rescheduling, we've got Ohio, Florida potentially coming online, Germany, and then legalization of medical in the US. There's so many catalysts on the horizon. We definitely need some sort of catalyst and some sort of news ASAP, because right now with the S&P 500, the way it's going, it's not looking good. I said that we could potentially be heading to weekly oversold on the S&P 500 and then weekly overbought on the DXY, the dollar index. So if the US dollar index hits weekly overbought, it's a weekly bull flag as well, targeting about 110. That could be the temporary bottom in stocks and crypto and MJ, right? So that would be good to get that out of the way ASAP. And if SPY loses 420, odd that the number's 420, but it just happened to be that key support. If we lose that, we have no support down to about 400 psychological. So that would spell trouble for these MJ companies, right? Because that would be headwinds versus tailwinds. So we want the wind at our back, but unfortunately, we've got a ton of headwinds at the moment, and it's all about 420 on the S&P 500. If it loses that, we could be heading to 400 in a hurry. And we're also heading toward, we're very close to daily oversold here on Tilray as well. There was a bear flag that I mentioned that was targeting 195, and we were holding that level pretty much, to a T. And then I said, given the rest of the sector weakness, given the fact that we had bear flags on CGC, we had bear flags on OGI, it was bear flag city. I did a video on OGI as well. There was a bear flag on Curaleaf. There was a head and shoulders pattern on MSOS targeting, mid $6 range, which we basically hit today. So there was a lot of signs pointing, and then the US, MJ being weak, MJ here in Canada being weak, the broader market being weak, it just spelled trouble, right? And right now, I said, I think in my yesterday's live stream video, I mentioned that we could see $1.75 or just slightly below that for Tilray to potentially bring us to daily oversold, and we're not quite there yet. 30 and below is considered oversold, and 70 and above is considered overbought. So we're currently sitting at 31.74, so we're very close to daily oversold, and we hit the low of 183 today. So exactly what I had anticipated, $1.75 or a slight loss thereof would put us around that daily oversold territory, and could be an area to scout a temporary bottom, right? So at the moment, it's not looking too hot, but like I said, we do have that gap as well that we were filling. And like I said, daily oversold could mark that bottom being set, but we need some sort of news. We need some sort of catalyst. Bulls need to step in here, and defend this support. We have an all-time low coming into play at 150. So a lot of people just didn't see this coming, right? A lot of people didn't expect this, myself included. I thought we had tons of room for a monthly higher low, but it is what it is. The charts are the charts, and that's why we look at them day in, day out. Each and every day we get more data, so we reassess, right? But right now, we're still holding a low, and we're looking for this monthly higher low, which we knew was more than likely the case and the most likely scenario. It was an inverse head and shoulders potential, but it's not as clear now, because you can see here the left shoulder was at around 252, and we're sitting here at 183. So now it's pretty lopsided. So I'm not going to give that as much weighting this time around. So we'll negate that for the moment. But if we take a look at the weekly time frame here, I took the fractal from the previous bull market from the low here to the high, and that's these blue bar pattern. So you can see here the last time we came off the bottom and started a new bull market, it was a similar type move, right? Similar percentages and similar move, and then we had some pretty decent consolidation, right? We, from the low to the high, we ran up about 150%, and then we pulled back about 45%. And then if we just take a look at where we're at here this time around, we were up about 130%, and now we're currently down 45%. So it's pretty, it's eerily similar, and we're a little bit more beaten down, and you can maybe just adjust this a little bit as well, right? You can maybe adjust it out to like that, right? And that's the thing with that's why I don't really like trend lines a whole lot either. And then these bars patterns, it's easily manipulated, and perception, right, is different, and you can just modify it slightly, and then, kind of, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? But the psychology is there, and the pattern is very similar, and it says, potentially we could form a bottom sometime in like between now and December. And it doesn't have to follow verbatim, right? But it just kind of gives us an idea of what the markets are usually like when we start to reverse. And it's usually this despair moment where people think, we're just going to drop to lower lows. But it's possible we drop to lower lows. But if we follow this pattern and we get out of this downtrending resistance, we could potentially see about a $13 price tag. And that actually lines up with the inverse head and shoulders target that I drew, right? If we just go back here, that was the inverse head and shoulders target as well. So anything's possible at this point. We could see that happen, but again, it's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy, but it's just to show you that, this isn't guaranteed. It's just how it's the psychology of how markets work right here, right? When we bounce from 243 all the way up to 1160 in May of 2020, everybody thought, the bottom is in. And then from there, we corrected from that high to the bottom there over 60%, right? And then everybody thought we were back down to all-time, the recent low there and the all-time lows. And then everybody thought we were probably going to continue this bear market. And then we gave the higher low and the higher high. So once in November of 2020, that's when we had the low, high, higher low, and higher high. In November of 2020, we confirmed the monthly uptrend. That's the last time we had a monthly uptrend. So it's now been well over 1,000 days since a monthly uptrend was confirmed. And then here we confirmed a monthly downtrend in the month of July of 2021. We had the high, low, lower high, and lower low. So what constitutes an uptrend? Higher lows and higher highs. Downtrend, lower highs, lower lows. Now we're working on this monthly higher low, and a name that has already done it is Cureleaf. So we can use Cureleaf, one of the stronger charts in the space. Low, high, higher low compared to this low, and a higher high. So in September, we confirmed that monthly uptrend. And then if you take a look at AYR as well, it's in a monthly uptrend as well. Low, high, higher low, and higher high. So now we want to see the more names do so, the better. We want to see producers in Canada and the US, retailers in Canada and the US, and ETFs in Canada and the US as well. So we don't have that much room to work with now. To the all-time low here, we're looking at about 16%. That's not too bad. But again, if the S&P 500 heads to weekly oversold and loses 420 and heads to 400, then we could potentially see $1.50 an all-time low come in to play very, very quickly. So again, we could definitely use some news right now, but either that or the bulls really step in and defend this support. I'll buy it if we drop below 150. I've got my bags packed with Tilray. I've been adding other positions in MJ, but you can check out my top 5 MJ holdings. And I did another video, my entire MJ portfolio breakdown with percentages to learn more about that. But yeah, we need to confirm a weekly uptrend and set these monthly higher lows ASAP. So if we hold 150 on this monthly consolidation and break above 340, then monthly uptrends confirmed, because then we would have our higher high and our higher low compared to this low at an all-time low at 150. So if you're looking for an entry, now's the time. Not financial advice. This is never financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is for entertainment and informational purposes only. But generally, this is when the masses, the herd, gets shaken out, just like back here when we see massive corrections after a massive move coming off a nasty bear market, potentially entering a new multi-year bull market. This is usually when people get shaken out, right? Because you have this long drawn out process, right, of like 1,000 days, almost 1,000 days, right? From the high of February 2021, we're looking at 973 days. So this is, brutal, right? And then people finally get their hope, and then it's just a suckers rally, and then people get despair. Oh, this is just another suckers rally. And then it's generally on these monthly higher lows when we confirm monthly uptrends for, first time in over 1,000 days is when people get shaken out. So if you're looking for long-term entries, now wouldn't be a bad time to start entering. If you're looking for a swing trade, you could even enter now and set your stop below that clear stop loss of 150. Maybe allow like 139, 134 for some wiggle room, just in case they go stop loss hunting. But right now, or you could scale in, you can enter a little bit now, a little bit around, $1.60, and then another chunk around $1.50 trying to nail that bottom and potentially double bottom. And then, like I said, with a stop just below. So that could be another swing trade opportunity or, short-term trade. Or if you're more conservative, maybe you want to wait for us to confirm the monthly uptrend. So if you want to wait, see if 150 holds, and then if we come up and break 340, then enter and go long, right? Because for example, Cureleaf, if you entered Cureleaf when it confirmed the monthly uptrend here, when it broke 568, if you just entered there, that would have been a trade opportunity of almost 40%, right? So again, if Tilray breaks above its resistance on the monthly and confirms a monthly uptrend and we go back to EMA 26, that's about an 87% opportunity. But again, if you enter now and we go up to February 2021 highs, you're looking at a 35x, $1,000 investment into $35,000. So the more risk, the more reward, and the more aggressive you are, the more reward you're going to get, right? Because you're taking on more risk. Nothing wrong with being more conservative versus less conservative, or more aggressive, but it all depends on how much money you're going to throw at it as well. If you're throwing in $500, well, maybe you can tolerate a little bit more risk. If you're throwing in $50,000, well, you're probably going to be on the edge of your seat and, a little bit anxious and stressed, right? So it all depends on your situation, and nobody's situation is ever going to be the same. So like I said, we could definitely use some news, but right now we're just looking for this monthly high or low. And we know that Florida, the ballot hearing and arguments are going to be presented on November 8th. So that is a catalyst to be looking out for as well. But like I said, I could expect a little bit more weakness over the next week or two. But with safer rescheduling, we could see a DEA response to the recommendation of HHS really anytime now between the next month or two. And it is what it is. Unfortunately, this is how the market works. It's designed to bore the living crap out of you. And then when we finally start to see a reversal, we see monthly consolidation, and that's generally when people capitulate and just jump ship, right? And then we get the monthly uptrend, and then we're off to the races, right? So in terms of the weekly time frame, we had all of the signals and heads up that we needed to expect more downside. We lost the 10-week moving average. We had a bear cross of the stochastic, which was a leading indicator and an early indicator, and then we had the MACD bear cross on the weekly time frame as well, but that has since been completed, and now downside is limited, in my opinion. So we got those bear crosses out of the way. That's the only positive thing in regards to that. With the weekly time frame macros, we're back below the 50 weekly as well. But a lot of names are getting above their 100 weekly. Curaleaf was one of them. So if Tilray follows suit, then that could bring us around that $3.83 to $4 mark. And then a lot of names are probably going to start to trend back to their 200 weeklies, which would bring us to around $8. And then in terms of the daily time frame, we did have a golden cross as well. But just because we had a golden cross, look, it happened back here in December of 2020. And then, we were gearing up. We had a pretty big pullback as that golden cross happened. But it took many months, right? It wasn't until in February where we hit, that parabolic move, right? And that massive upside. Then we had the death cross with the 50-day above the 200-day and across. Price went from about $14 all the way down to $1.50. Now we're even more beaten down. So again, this golden cross could take months before we really start to see some upside ensue, right? So, and then something that we want to keep an eye out on as well is the fact that we had the weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. So that was the first time since December of 2020. And then we had the bear cross with the 12 period above the 26 period. When the shorter term's above the longer term, it's bear. When the shorter term's below the longer term and they cross, it's bull. Now we're seeing what happened here. Before this happened, we're seeing another bull cross. And like I said, that's the first time we're seeing a bull cross of these weekly EMAs in about 973 days-ish. So hopefully that was helpful. I know it's brutal to be watching this after such a massive move and, the monumental recommendation of Schedule 3 recommendation from HHS. It's almost as if it never happened, but you got to remember that this is how usually charts work, right? Usually we need to confirm monthly uptrends after a brutal multi-year bear market, right? When we haven't confirmed a monthly uptrend in over 1,000 days, that has to happen to be confident that the bottom is in. And this, in my opinion, is just another buying opportunity. But let me know in the comments below if you're adding. I know it's brutal. It's always hard to add whenever prices are going down. It's kind of the opposite, right? We want to buy when things are going up because we feel good about the investment, but it's just the way the market is designed, right? It's made and designed to make you feel some type of way, and boy, does it ever do that. So going in it there, let me know in the comments below if this was helpful. Going to be doing that giveaway later on today as well, so I'll do a live stream and announce the winner. So good luck to everybody. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth, and we'll see you again on the next video.